do less but do more efficient, bigger things.
It's hard to be your best self when your energy is constantly being sapped from you.
You make happen out of necessity. If it matters to you, you'll figure it out.
Something I've been thinking a lot about recently, where in life it's very easy to accumulate excess. And so what does it look like to strip off and remove the dead weight that no longer serves you? It may have served you for a time, but removing things in your life that no longer apply to the mission and journey that you're on. And we could go as granular and as nitty gritty down to like what's on your desk when you sit down to work in the morning, all the way to, big concepts in life like, hey, this person was a really big person in my life, but, in recent years I've had to cut them off because the relationship just didn't serve me any longer.
Yeah.
So I think we could go either direction, but wanted to get, that's the topic that's been on my mind. I wanted to get some thoughts from you.
I think everybody goes through a phase in their life where they reassess what's needed for the next journey. Whether you're going into college, whether you're a bachelor, you're getting married, you're having kids, doing a career change later on, or even doing a company change. Let's say you're 40, 50 years old and you're doing a company change to a VP position or something like that. I think everybody has a time where they reassess what's needed for their current space and their current life. I would say the one that I'm going through right now, and Bailey, you're going through it too, is we can speak on behalf of what we're doing because that's what we know, but going through an entrepreneurial stripping, and it's actually, I thought it would be a really hard thing to do. But I think the hardest thing was realigning the brain to what you have to do to win. I don't think it was hard for me in the period where I left my job and I jumped into the company and I had to build something because I didn't have a choice. I thought originally, like before, from the bird's eye view, before jumping, I thought the hardest thing would be the physical changes I had to adapt. And I honestly can say this from full truth. I think that was not the full perspective of my life. I think the hardest thing was realigning who I was as a person when I jumped. Because let's be real, everybody goes back to a point in their life where it's like you're hunting and gathering, right? You're in this survival mode. You make happen what you need to happen because you don't have an option. You don't have a choice. So if you're hungry and you equipped a bow and an arrow, you're going to go look for food and you're going to find it. Because you don't have an option. You got to provide food and put it on the table. And in that spot, for me, I thought like, okay, like this transitioning my pay and having it, or even a quartering it, what I used to get, would be incredibly hard. But I think you build for what you make happen out of necessity.
Yeah.
So like if it matters to you, you'll figure it out. And the hardest part is getting around the concept and the mind change that you have to do to become the person that still hunts at the top of his game when you are, not getting provided as much as you used to get provided. So I don't know if this is just kind of a different area I'm going and it'll wrap full circle. But for me, like decluttering parts of my life where, not doing this versus that, like not spending money on luxury items and only on necessity items, really refining our day-to-day expenditures and our living space. Like that was actually pretty easy for us to change because it was, okay, this is our focus. This is what I want from my life. I want to build a company. I want to grow it fast and well with a good foundation. I want to hire people so that I'm not the only one operating. So when my focal point was that, like stripping away my own necessities was the easiest part. The hardest part was aligning myself to lead those people when they came on, because I had to reorganize my entire perspective and declutter everything that I used to learn on being an employee and transitioning to a leader and entrepreneur.
Yep.
And that was a whole lot tougher for me than the pay cut or the change in money, because it required more effort. If you want to be a good man, if you want to be a good leader, you can't buy that. You can't do that overnight. That takes effort and time and a lot of sacrifice. Everything costs with sacrifice. But when when I'm looking at the price we pay, if you're telling me a $30,000 decrease in pay is stopping me from everything I've ever dreamed of, to me, that's not even on the same spectrum. I'd make the trade in an instant, from the decrease in pay that we had. And that was my perspective. So I think when I shifted to that, traveling lighter on my personal side is a pretty easy thing, for me personally.
So it sounds like the dead weight for you to get to the next level was removing the excess as far as monetary expenses in, forms of comfort in your day-to-day living then. Hey, this necessity that I needed, I could spend $200 a month on it, but instead I'm going to drop it down to $100 so that I can use that extra $100 to funnel back into my family or my business, whatever is required.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
almost, decreasing the creature comforts and allowing yourself the space to just focus on what's needed in the business and providing for your family. That's good.
Well, and you understand that everything in life everything's a lever. Everything. You can track anything in this world. It is as simple as a lever. When you pull one lever, the other lever moves, right? You cannot do one action without a reaction.
Yep.
So with understanding the platform of that in this company, if I want to pay myself a little bit more, I'm slowing down the lever of speed and acquiring more team members that then we can grow faster. So if I want to ramp up speed and team members, I need to be less of a burden on the balance sheet of our company.
Right.
Now, obviously, I understand you need to eat, right? I know the forefront, you need to not, I have a kid at home and a wife, they're all taken care of. We have food, we have shelter, we have everything we need. We just don't have anything else. Yep. We have bare bones necessity, because when I sat down with my wife and we made that transition, the only thing that mattered to us was whether this coffee company succeeds or not. And I understood that the more sacrifice we can make early on, the better it's going to be tenfold in even 3 years down the road, 4 years down the road. And so for us, that wasn't a negotiation. That was, okay, I want to change that right now. And like I said, that was 3 conversations, because my wife believes in what we do here. She's a team player through and through. She believes in me. She believes in our mission, our goal, the company, the products. The big hardest thing for me truly was knowing how good I thought I was and understanding I'm really not that good.
Wow.
And what I mean by that is, I've been in business 10 years. Okay. And at the 10-year mark, I realized, man, I need to double my efficiency as a man without doubling my time. I need to double my efficiency. And that's hard for a lot of people. Yeah. That was really hard for me. I understood, man, the sacrifice I got to make now is I can't be making linear moves. I need to be making exponential, very big leaps for the company so that the people we have on our team can then operate everything else. Yeah. And that was incredibly tough, because I thought I was already productive. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, I'm doing this, and that, and I'd say Bailey and I are in the top 0.5% in our age group. And we still get to a point where we're like, wow, looking at the trajectory of what we're doing right now in this company and looking at where we want to be and where we want to grow into, we need to double ourselves in efficiencies. And that requires effort, because I needed to retrain my entire understanding, my entire routine, my entire thing of how I did life. I cannot do life anymore. And so that was the stripping for me. Like the money was easy to get rid of. To be honest, money's never really, I've never been motivated by money ever. You need money to survive and resource, and I understand that. And money is a good resource to then buy time back and freedom in the future. That's good utilization. But for me, the hard thing was retraining everything I used to know and understanding I need to change everything.
Yeah. Money is a terrific tool.
Yeah.
But it's a terrible
100%.
treasure and a terrible master. Yeah. So explain to the listeners then your stripping of the inefficiencies. In a practical sense, what was like the number one thing that you did to, for yourself, double your efficiency? Like, what's been the one thing every single day that you're like, you know, you wake up and you're like, I need to be efficient today. I need to be productive. Because a lot of times people that are moving towards a goal, they confuse motion with productivity. They just do a lot of things, but they didn't actually make any progress. So what's the thing then that helps you kind of, your litmus test, like internally, what helps you guide that efficiency every single day?
For me, one of the big things that I always try to tackle, because I'm wired as a creative, do less, but do more efficient, bigger things. So rather than me sitting down, having a to-do list, a task list that's 20, 30 action items deep, I need to look at the top 4 things, and I need to do those today.
The highest leverage activities.
And I need to initiate that and not run away from it, not even procrastinate it to the next day. It needs to be tackled today, here and now. And I have a list of things that probably should get done this week, and then I have a real to-do list of these are the things that are non-negotiables. And for me being in the spot that I am today, those have to happen, because a lot of the other tasks you can get stuck in and they're not necessarily progressing the company. You're working in the company, but not on the company.
Right.
And my focus, what I'm good at, is I'm working on the company, right? So that when I hire somebody, they can work in the company.
Correct.
But what keeps people gravitating towards our team is because I am running on the company, right? If you go to our team members, and every single one of them could tell you our vision, they could tell you where we want to go, our mission behind our products, our company, the overarching character traits that we hold and uphold for our team and all of our customer base and our clients. They can tell you that right out of the gate, because we have to be incredibly clear and concise, and they want to be a part of something that's growing. So if you're a leader, whether you're building a team or you're building as an entrepreneur in a corporate setting or in a small business or in a self-employed position, at some point you're going to need somebody to help you along the way with something, a part of the structure that you built. And in that, the best way for people to help you better and to continue to grow beyond what you thought was possible is you need to cast vision. You need to cast something that they can grow into. And if you don't do that as a leader, you're always going to be in turnover. You know, and turnover is the most expensive thing you can do as a business owner. Probably not the most, but it's one of the top 5 most expensive.
Short of burning cash. It's probably up there.
And we've never had any issue with that, because the guys that are in here want to be in here, and they love being in here, and they love, eat, breathe, and sleep coffee. Sometimes more than me. And I love what we're doing here. Yeah, that was the stripping. Like, I need to focus on only the top priority things.
Yeah.
Not that I can't be bothered with the small things. I love every part of our company. So I love even the handwritten notes. They make the smallest difference, but it's a personal touch into every single one of our customers that we always ensure. And that's like something it's really incredibly important to me. But that was a big change. And I don't think anybody's ever ready for it, because you think, oh, my life's going to be the same.
Probably not.
Nowhere near that.
Yeah.
And the money is the easiest part to give up. Like retraining everything you used to know from birth. Like, hey man, I know this is how you used to do everything, but we're going to throw that away. We're going to do something drastically different.
Yep.
That was hard. And I'm still working on that today, and getting better.
So one final, I guess, striking the iron while it's hot. So we mentioned the high leverage activities. Like, you'll take your top 4. For you, what do you do to distinguish those top 4 in a list of, say, 20 items? Because I'm sure we've got some young hustlers out there that are trying to build a career, or they're building a business themselves, other owners out there. Like, what tools do you use? What things, like, do you think about, hey, this is the highest leverage activity for me to win today? Or is it just kind of like every day you just kind of look at the list and you're like, yeah, I know this one has the greatest positive outcome on the company, so this is what I'm doing today?
Well, I view it in three forms: past, present, and future. If it has to do with the past, I don't even think about those. Don't touch those. Unless, it really gets up the string and we have a client that really had a bad encounter with us.
Yeah.
Then that goes to me. But the present is our entrepreneur operators. They do everything that needs to be done today, tomorrow, and this week, pretty much. It is my focus to be in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It is, so when I'm looking at tasks as a entrepreneur building a company, my only focal point, if I've designed my system well, I operate in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then there's somebody very close, very directly under me that then does lead operations of everything in present and future. They're a hybrid. Mm-hmm. But I think as a leader, if you're not in the future, your employees are not in the future.
Yeah.
And I can tell you your customers are not in the future either. Your customers are less than your employees in as far as how much they can see growth.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I need to operate in either like a short-term future or a long-term future. Mm-hmm. That's priority items that I look for. And that's anywhere from a month in the future or to 12 months or to 5-10 years. I really like to add the 5-10 year tasks. I eat those up because I can see it already. It's like it's like I get the high from seeing it before it happens.
Yeah.
But there's times I need to sit back and be like, okay, like I know this is where we want to be 5-10 years from now. This is what we're building towards, but I need to sit back and be like, this is our 12-month. This is our 3-month goal. Mm-hmm. And that's how I distinguish those.
I love that. That's really good. Past, present, future. I've never heard that before. So that's very cool. Obviously, understanding as an owner with you, we have to be operating in the present.
Correct.
But we need to be constantly drawing from our future, kind of pulling the future towards us today and doing things. Because that's kind of how I think we work so well together is you are 5 years down the road and I am less skilled in that area of like really the vision casting, but I know how to make your visions come to life today because I know how to do the how. So, or if I don't, I know who can. And so we can build collaboratively where we're trying to go. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, this idea then of removing the dead weight to get to our goals. What do you think about in terms, because like I said, we've got, other folks on this that are listening that probably have teammates that are hard to work with, or, employees that are challenging or toxic. What do you think about people in your life that drain your energy on a day-to-day basis? How do you handle that?
This is going to sound hard, but I think it's the only way to truly go forward as a person. You have to be incredibly focused on what you want and what you don't want, and know the fine line. Otherwise, if you don't take that line and sometimes move people or remove people, that will hinder you from getting to where you want to go in life. And I try to be as nice as possible, but incredibly direct. Mm-hmm. So there has been points in my life where people, are no longer as close to me as they used to be. And it's not that I don't wish them well. I totally do. I just understand where I'm going and where this company is going. I can't have 1 million people with me. Mm-hmm. Okay, I might be able to have a lot of great clients and customers, but I'm talking about people in my inner circle, people that influence me, my family, my best friend, my pastor in our community. That set of people for me has always been really refined and small. I can talk to anybody on the road, on the street. I can make great conversation. I just love people. But getting an invite to influence in my life is always been tough for some people, because I protect that line. That is my house.
Yep.
Right? That is my stronghold, my fortress. And there are some times when you understand that the next phase of your life, for you to move there are people who are still in the previous chapter, this previous phase that you were in, that are going to try to pull you back because it makes them feel comfortable about being complacent with where they're at. And you have to understand that sometimes everybody talks about, failure, separates people and whatnot, but so does success. And there's going to be times in your life where your success and your goals are so intimidating to other people that they don't want to be around you. And sometimes that's a blessing and a curse. Mm-hmm. The blessing in it is, for you to go where you need to go, you need to be talking to very, very specific people that know very specialized things. And not everybody carries that. And understanding that that's a part of the price at points in time. And that's the hard truth of what we do. That's the hard truth of us having this Pursuit podcast for you guys to hear, is not everybody gets to come along. But here's the great thing. And just because someone doesn't come along with you in the process of building it doesn't mean you can't be good friends with them. They just may not have the influence on you that they used to. And that's incredibly important, because for you to be ultra specialized and high level into whatever you want to go in life, you understand that you probably only get five spots next to you, maybe 10 if you're lucky. And that's it. And so every single person that you bring into that setting has to be at the top of their game, mm-hmm. or influencing you in a way that they're growing in a manner that you want to grow in.
Yeah.
So there has been times of removal, and you don't have to be mean about it.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
But you got to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
I was telling this to Bailey. for your best interest, for your best self, you need to make the sacrifice now. Otherwise, it's going to be 10 times harder down the line.
Yeah.
Because you've let them drag along. So it's so much easier to make that change early than later.
Yeah.
It always is. Pulling off the Band-Aid always is easier initially, and it's painful initially, but then, you know, it goes away.
Yeah.
And it's best for them too, because they need to be not led on to something that they think they're going to get parts of. And it's, you know, a relationship goes both ways. And 100%. If you can't invest back in them, it's better for them to find people that they can invest in, that they also get the same feeling back. Mm-hmm. So you're doing them a disservice by keeping them on when you're not the friend you should be for them. So you got to do it for yourself. And there's going to be a point in your time. I'm never going to sit here and say you need to be the most selfish person in the world. That's not a characteristic I ever want to in place. But I am incredibly direct, and I'm focused. And I know that sometimes it can come off like that. But I don't mean it in any mean way possible. I think just people have different goals. And if you're going to sit on the sideline of that, and it's going to make you angry when I'm just doing what I do, then I don't want to instill that in you.
Yeah. I heard this earlier this year for the first time ever. I think it's a really short and snappy way of what you're saying. Clarity is kindness. And when you're clear about what it is you're trying to do, and you can clearly communicate that to somebody, that is the ultimate form of kindness, because you're showing them, hey, this is what I'm doing. Like, you know, you're a freight train. You're going where you're going to go, and you're moving fast, and there's a lot of momentum behind you. So some people just like to stand on the tracks and get plowed. Like, they're just going to get run over, dude. But they stand there thinking that, you know, oh, I think I'm so important, I'm going to stop you from wherever you're heading so that you'll give me the time of day. And that's not always the case. There's a lot of people, especially as you're trying to do something big, a lot of people want to just jump on those tracks and waste your time, waste your attention, try to pull you back to their level if you're pursuing a goal that's, you know, higher than your current self, but you know what you have to do to get to that level. And you just know that these distractions don't serve you anymore. You know, it doesn't help me to go to the bar anymore. It doesn't help me to go to, you know, this person's house and, you know, stay up until 2-3 in the morning. Even if you are having good conversation and stuff, if it ruins the next couple of days because you didn't get that sleep you needed, you know, that's a distraction. So, yeah, you've always been extremely focused, and that's always been a strong suit of yours. Being direct, I think for you is a strength. So, and yeah, no, definitely, like, you give a lot more grace than you're saying here. You are extremely kind to people that you encounter, and you are able to give them your time and attention that you have to give. I think some people want it more, but you're just protective of it, and as you should be. I mean, in the same way that most people don't give away their money, I feel like most people are more flippant with their time, and time is ultimately the best, most scarce resource we have. I mean, who on earth can create time? Not a soul, not a single person. So anybody can go and create money. You just create value, and then poof, there's money. Whether that's in skills or whatever, a product, it doesn't really matter. You can create that. You can't create time. So I think people need to be removing the things that are taking a lot of their time away from what they should be focused on.
That's well said. So what's something in your life, Bailey, that has been something that you have gone through or going through, that you would call like the decluttering or the stripping of, or just traveling lighter?
In the last year, definitely a lot. I guess I'll start with the foundation to my life is spiritually decluttering. We live in a world that is extremely self-focused and self-centered, where like we overconsume and we're constantly distracted by the world around us. And decluttering in that sense for me has just been a sort of disconnect from how most people our age operate. So like, you can call me, you can text me, but that's pretty much the only way you're going to reach me. My smartphone is virtually dumb because that's how I want it to be. I want to be hard to contact. I want there to be friction, because if I do certain things, if I view certain things, I always start to compare myself with just what the world has to offer. And that's not how the Lord set up my life to be. So for me, spiritually decluttering has been a big foundational change for me. Refocusing every single morning on, Lord, what do you have for me today? What is your will for me today? And just starting there and honestly letting that be the foundation of every day and building. We talked about the to-do list. I'm very big on critical tasks, or the high leverage tasks, the 5 things I can do every single day to move the needle. It's not always in business. Sometimes it's a, family and relationships task. Sometimes it's a health related task. But the first thing I need to focus on every day is getting my heart posture correct. Otherwise, it's Bailey seeking Bailey's kingdom. And I need to remind myself every single morning that if my eyes aren't fixed on Jesus, I'm not doing the right thing that day. So spiritually decluttering is the number one thing over the last, I'd say, 2 years that I've just been working on and developing and really flexing that muscle. Maybe it's because I'm married and was looking to have a kid, and we had the kid, and I'm now thinking about how I'm going to be a parent and all that stuff. But maybe it's also just because there's no better time than today to seek the Lord's face. I mean, no better time than today. So stripping away that clutter and I guess the selfishness, the pride, all those things. There have been people over the last 2 years that I have had to just distance myself from, because the relationship was it had damage from the past that when I got back into proximity, it just resurfaced in a new way and in a different way. And that type of relationship is always very hard to navigate because you care so much about the person. Like when you're close to somebody and you've been close to them for so many years, and you make a tweak in your life and how you view things, not even a drastic tweak, just a subtle change in direction. I'm 3 degrees off, but you do it long enough and you're at 2 totally different spots on the map. That's kind of what happened, And so coming back to that relationship, it was, I showed up, they showed up, and it's like, wow, we really disagree on a lot of things and how we view how the world works, and ultimately our identities no longer aligned. And because of that misalignment, there was a lot of friction. And so kind of in a similar way to you, it just took me a lot longer to get it out, being clear about this is what needs to happen. And so, I just think if people are going through a tough spot relationally, it's really important that you just identify, first of all, there is a humbling of self. Like, take an honest account of your approach and make sure you're doing it with the right intention in mind. And if your intentions are pure, then you figure out exactly what you want. And is this person harming you, either emotionally, hopefully not physically, but if they are, definitely get rid of that. But emotionally, spiritually, just if it's harmful to you getting to where you need to go and where God has you going, the Lord doesn't want you there. You shouldn't be there. You should probably get out of that situation. Because it's hard to be your best self when your energy is constantly being sapped from you by someone or something else. So relational clutter, getting rid of that, stripping that, making sure that the 5 men that I surround myself with in fraternity that I'm becoming the average of those guys, and always thinking about that when I spend my time with them, and thinking, is what we do what I want to be doing? Is this who future Bailey wants to become? And if the answer to that's no, then I should probably adjust, who my 5 are. And in the same way, that sounds a little harsh. It sounds very me-centric. But again, I'm coming from a place of, like, humbly. I'm not saying I'm better than you because I don't want to go do what you want to do. I'm saying I just have a different objective. I have a different goal.
Yep.
Some guys like to shoot videos of themselves playing video games online because they're really, really good. They're really skilled at this video game. That's awesome, brother. More power to you. Video games are not in my future, so I'm not going to play video games. I'm not going to sit on a computer and play until 2 a.m. That's just not what I can do. But I can go do this thing really well, and so I do that thing really well. And it's, we all grow up and grow, and we take on different, identities, but we have different hobbies, different interests, and time goes on, and you can move away from people, and that's okay. It's not that you don't like them anymore. It's just that they're just no longer a fit, I guess, for where you're trying to go. And then I guess the most recent has been the shift out of corporate, and it's funny, the email that is always sent whenever you leave a big corporation, it's, in this case, Bailey Sheldon has decided to pursue outside opportunities. And it made me laugh when I read it because, this corporate thing, this corporate system, not just the company I worked for, but all these big corporations are like, oh, they're pursuing an outside opportunity. Like, if you're not on the inside with us corporate folk, like, you're no good. And if you're in corporate, it's totally fine, dude. I did it for my entire career, and it was a blessing. It said it helped with this in miraculous ways. Mm-hmm. So, but for me, it became I can't do my job for this corporation at the level of excellence that I know I am capable of, while also building my businesses at the level of excellence that I know that I'm capable of. And so I had to choose. And so stripping away the comfort of, a very stable, very steady paycheck and that lifestyle that was with it. And similar to you and your influence on me to live very modest, very below my means has been extremely helpful in stripping away the excess, because it truly isn't needed. And, you go through the budget and it's like, well, we got everything we need right here. Like, we're good. We've got it. Like, we've got it all. We've got it.
Well, and a lot of times too, when you take that out, you realize it didn't really bring you much more happiness than what you were before anyways.
No, don't get me wrong. There's, we were never like whimsical with our finances. I've always had a plan. I've always had a vision. I've always been very good about like investing in the future. But there are a lot of things that you just have to not unlearn, but certain conveniences that we now have to give up. Like, hey, the kitchen is dirty because wife was dealing with the baby all day, and I came home from a long day of work at 8 o'clock at night. She hasn't had dinner. I'm hungry. I haven't had dinner. Hey, we're going to DoorDash because it's just the easiest thing. I'll still clean the kitchen tonight so we don't do the same mistake of DoorDash tomorrow. So clean kitchen, food arrives, you eat, great. You got to save time of having to cook. But let's all be honest, you're paying a bajillion times more for some fast food. And nowadays they let you, I'm going to get a $25 Wendy's DoorDash to my house. It ends up being $50. And oh, by the way, you can split it into 4 equal payments with this buy now, pay later. And then your $25 Wendy's burger has now become $110 after interest. Yeah. And it's like,
fast
wow,
money loan.
I could have got a nice steak at Baker Street. Like,
yeah,
dude, and here we are. So anyways, those conveniences, like that's a small example, but, yeah, it's just a different path and a different journey, and making that sacrifice for the short term is something that I'm willing to do, you're willing to do, and that's why we're here. That's why at the young age of 28, we can have a business that is, worth what it is with equipment that's, some people's houses. And I say that humbly because you can do it too. Like when you start believing in yourself and really doubling down on yourself, it's amazing the doors that get opened. So, we talk a lot about the purpose and stepping into your purpose and living every day in what God created you to do. I truly firmly believe that when you are doing that with the right heart, with the right intention, and doing it for his kingdom, for his glory, not your kingdom, not your glory, there will be some blessing in that, for sure. Now, blessing doesn't necessarily mean you're going to become a millionaire or you're going to have some big house or a yacht or whatever. Blessing comes in different forms. Quentin is a blessing on my life. This warehouse is a blessing for our lives. These things are not monetary. They're not necessarily ours. Quentin's not, he's my best friend, but he's not mine. I don't own him. He doesn't own me. Like, it's these things, the blessings look different. So, yeah. I don't know if that answers your question. I kind of went from spiritual to personal to, but that's a lot of the decluttering, the shedding the weight, because I know that if we're going to get to that mountaintop experience, you said this yesterday, we have to be counting the ounces, not the pounds.
Yeah.
That is a very
professional hikers do not count in pounds. They count their equipment in ounces because they know how much one little piece can add when you've already gone 20,000 feet in elevation.
And how much energy over time it drains when that weight is there. And that's why I'm saying, like, if you have people, if you have stuff, if you have clutter in your life that no longer serves you for where you're trying to go, don't be afraid to just rid yourself of it. How many times do you go to that box in the closet that's sat there for years and you're like, yep, I still need all this stuff? Never. Yeah, because it no longer serves you. If you haven't touched something in your house for 2 years, you should probably just throw it away because you don't need it. Your brain can't even think about all the stuff that you've got in your house, so just get rid of it. So, yeah. We have a lot of clutter because we overconsume here in America. And I think living a minimalist life is, it's a challenge for a lot of people. Because it's very countercultural. Mm-hmm. We are a maximalist society. You go to the gas station and you get a drink.
Get the big gulp, 64 ounce.
Big gulp, baby. 49 cent, big gulp.
49
Get half a gallon of Coke. Man, you know how much sugar's in a half gallon of pop?
It doesn't matter. It's 49 cents.
Dude, who cares, man? Drinking my dinner
it's
tonight.
It's not even 49 cents. That's like $1.20,
Oh, yeah. I know.
But
hey, it's free if you get buy gas, get a free drink.
Get a pump.
Hey, you got to do something when gas is $5. Shoot.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if you had any other thoughts.
Let me add one thing.
Absolutely.
When you understand your true purpose in your life, and God's put that on you, and you understand the calling he has on your life specific, you don't have time to sit and peddle with things that are not in that area.
Absolutely.
And when my calling and your calling is something of the nature that is pretty bearing, and that's to provide for a lot of people, mind, body, soul, spirit, with coffee, as we roll out the pursuit so that we can help a lot of people in their lives. I can't be doing things I used to do with people that have no desire to help build the kingdom that we're trying to instill into the Western culture today.
Yeah.
And the sooner you understand that your calling is really the only thing that should matter to your relationship with Christ, and your calling in the kingdom is the only thing that should be on the forefront of your mind, next to your family. And if you're constantly keeping people that have no fit to that, it's going to keep that calling from enacting. Mm-hmm. And I think, to me, nothing is more valuable than that. And so if it's in between that and a relationship that is not helping you, not helping me, or something in my life that's clutter, like, it's got to go, because there's nothing else that matters more.
Yeah.
So I think it's a refinement of spirit, understanding that what matters true to you and to your community of people. So you got to protect that. You got to protect that with everything you got. So that's kind of where my mind was going off the.
Actually, I really like that. And gosh, I should pull it up. But if you haven't read The Parable of the Talents, I would recommend going to it. We don't have the time to really dive into it, but what you were just talking about, like, we don't have the time to do this, kind of reminds me of that, because, you know, the master goes and he gives one guy 1 talent, one guy 5, and one guy 10, or 1, 2, and 5, however it goes. And basically they all grow their stuff. They all grow the master's money, so to speak, except for the one guy who just buried it. And so in the same way, if you use your talents, your treasure, your time, and you scale that, job well done. But if you decide to bury it in comfort, in complacency, in whatever's convenient, and you never find out what would have happened if you would have tried that thing.
And let me add this, because a lot of
tough.
people miss this in that story. That's a beautiful story. We'll find the passage and we'll put it up on the screen for you guys. The guy who was rebuked was the man who was given the least but did not return anything but the original amount.
And at the end of that,
he takes the one that he buried and gave it to the man who had 10, who then made 10 more.
Mm-hmm. And the master said, "You lazy and wicked servant."
Yeah. So it's not about who gets 10, 5, and 1. It's about what you do with it.
Correct.
And if we understand anything in that nature, we don't want to bury it. We don't want anybody to bury those talents. And so it's really, really important for you as an individual, with whatever purpose and calling that God has for your life and the people around you, to be focused in that and continue to bless other people through that calling. And that's what we're called to do. I don't think there's a greater mission as an individual than that.
Matthew 25:14 through 30 is one of them. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Well, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, man. Well, thank you guys for listening today. We talked a lot about some heavy stuff, and if you have some things in your life that are a burden and just weighing on you, and you just want someone to talk to, reach out to us. I mean, we're not wise men, but we're young and we're hungry to become better, and we're hungry to help you become better. So reach out to us, let us know if we can help, and we can always share thoughts over a nice cup of coffee. So we hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Catch you guys later.
Peace.